This week we're on board Viking Eistla for a Christmas markets cruise in Europe. Let's step on board. It's kind of cold and windy out here. Let's check out this boat. Our boat is currently docked in Niederlahnstein, I think that's what it's called, for tours to Koblenz and later to Rüdesheim. So we're going to step on board. This is a Viking Longship. I think Viking has maybe more than 60 of these longships sailing in Europe. We've got a lot of them, and they're all virtually identical. Now when we step on board, we're going to step into the lobby, into the main reception area. Let's check it out. Now this is deck 2, and forward on deck 2 we have the restaurant, and this is where virtually all the meals, you can always find the menu for the day right here. Let's take a look inside the restaurant. Now one thing interesting, they have very elegant table set up with tablecloths, linens, but you'll notice there are no tables for 2. They have tables for 6, tables for, I believe, 8, and sometimes 10. Now at breakfast and at lunch, they'll have some salads and buffet items here, but you also have menus that you can order from. So this just gives you a little bit of an idea of the seating inside the restaurant. There are not even tables for 4. I think sometimes they configure some of these tables for 4. Of course, these windows are closed. The drapes are closed right now. There's actually another boat docked right next to us. If I go up on top, I'll be able to show you that. So that is the main dining venue. There's one other smaller venue upstairs that we'll show you here in a minute called AquaVIt Terrace. But most of the meals are in the dining room. You can see there's decorations set up for Christmas. Right behind those Christmas decorations, you'll find an elevator that will take you from the main deck, or deck 1, all the way up to deck 3. You'll find these hand sanitizers throughout the ship. Now if you go down these stairs to deck 1, what they call the main deck, it's basically just staterooms. There are no public areas on that deck. You'll notice a small gift shop over here, right across from the reception desk, where they have a few jewelry items, some caps, and some jackets, in case you forget a jacket. Just a few items, not much. Okay, let's go up to deck 3. Again, all of the Viking Longships are very similar, if not almost identical in their design. Now, from here we can go left or right to get to the lounge. But before we go in the lounge, let's check out, there's some seating here along the side. We can also go outside here. We'll do that later. They do have a library on board with a place to sit and read. And over here we've got a couple of complimentary computers you can use. Your internet is also complimentary on the ship. And it's actually very good. It's Starlink internet, and it's one of the fastest, most reliable internets I've had so far, just in the last 3 days. Around the corner we have some public restrooms. They are all unisex. And then down this hallway you'll find more staterooms. And of course you can step outside on this deck as well. Little outdoor seating. And this would take you up to the sun deck, which we will visit a little bit later. It's kind of cool out today. Now as we head forward toward the lounge, you'll find the same thing on each side of the ship or boat, depending on your point of view. We have a coffee station. They always have complimentary cookies. In the morning they'll have pastries here as well. Hot chocolate, coffee machine, water, tea. You can make hot tea. Have a selection of teas over here. Let's go back and check out the lounge. Now the lounge is the main public space on a Viking Longship. And as you can see, there's a lot of seating in here. Now these ships are designed to hold about 190 people. We have 181 on this cruise. This is where you'll find the bar, which is open in the evenings, late afternoon to evenings. Very good bar service, I might add. Of course, all windows. This is kind of an observation lounge. There's windows all the way around. Leather seating throughout the lounge. And most of the people are off the ship today on tours. And that's why we decided to use today as an opportunity to take a tour of the ship. Now I'm just stepping over to the other side of the lounge. You can see with all those big windows how you have great views of the river and the scenery. Of course, they have a Christmas tree for Christmas. We decorated a couple nights ago. They do have a piano, and they have musical entertainment here in the evenings.
Why is it?
And this is the AquaVIt Terrace. Part of this is indoors. And you can see this is a second option dining area for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And when the weather's nice, you can sit outside. These doors are closed right now because it's pretty cold outside. But in the summer, when it's warm, you can actually dine outdoors, al fresco, very nice. But we like to have meals up here indoors. It's the only place on the ship where you'll find tables for 2 or tables for 4. And Alexandra's taking great care of us on board the ship. So we have some other comfortable seating around here in the AquaVIt Terrace. And at breakfast, lunch, they'll have a little, maybe some buffet items set up here, self-serve, or they'll serve you, menu service. That's changed since our last Viking River cruise. We don't remember the menu service in the evenings, but we'll talk more about that later. Let's work our way back down the lounge, and there's also some seating out here because I think people do like to sit up here, and these are tables for 2 here in the lounge, and they will actually serve you lunch and dinner out here in the lounge too, just right off the AquaVIt Terrace. This is the liveliest place on the ship in the evenings. It gets pretty crowded. And Ricky's over here with her iPad. And on this side of the lounge as we exit, you can see they have pictures of all of the senior staff here on board Viking Eistla. Good for me because I can never remember everybody's names. And then we have another coffee station with cookies. Okay, let's go check out the sun deck, which is the top deck. Now, we haven't been using this very much on this cruise because it's been cold and rainy. But as you can see, there is a walking track up here. And they emphasize it's a walking track, not a running track, because this deck, of course, is the ceiling to the staterooms just below. So you don't want to run and cause a lot of noise on these metal decks. But it's a pretty nice little track, actually. It's the first time I've been up here on this ship. And they've got a little putting green over here. And we have some shuffleboard. Don't know that I've ever noticed the shuffleboard on any of the other ships. Now, I think this area at the very back, this is the smoking area. And I believe back behind this little wall is where the crew kind of hang out. Now, you'll notice right over here, this is another riverboat that's pulled up next to us. So it is docked right next to our boat. As you can see, there's two boats right next to each other. And all of these riverboats have a very similar design. They're built to certain specifications so that they can fit under the bridges along the river and the locks, and they're all virtually the same dimensions and size, and their lobby areas are designed so that they line up next to each other. So for the people on this boat to get to shore, they have to come through our lobby. Now you can maybe see in this case people are getting over to their riverboat on the sun deck. They're coming up our stairs rather than go through our lobby. And sometimes we do this too. Rather than go through the lobby of the other ship, they'll come up these stairs or down these stairs and come across. And they've got a little gangway between the two boats here where they can walk over to their sun deck. And that's how they are now getting ashore. They'll come across our sun deck, go down our stairs, and then go off the boat that way. And sometimes you'll see 3 or 4 or even 5 boats parked next to each other, and you have to traverse from one to the other. Now there's some sun lounge seating over here that's covered, which is nice. Now when we go under some lower bridges, these structures all fold down so that it's very flat so that they can fit under the bridges. It's a very interesting technique. You're not allowed to be up here when they go under those low bridges. Obviously, you could get hurt. As we move toward the front of the boat, there's some more seating, and we're coming up to the wheelhouse, or the bridge, as it were. You may be able to notice this bridge is also designed so that it can also collapse, and it actually, when you can see the hydraulic mechanisms in here, maybe you can see that. So this whole bridge lowers down so that it could fit underneath the lower bridges on the river. But on a nice day, and it looks like it might be a little nicer today than it was yesterday, we might actually be able to get out here as we sail down the Rhine and check out some of the castles, like that one off in the distance. Not sure if you see that. So this is the sun deck, and it's a pretty nice place to be when the weather's nice and you're sailing along the river, just watching the scenery go by. So that was my quick tour of Viking Eistla and Viking Longships in general. If you have any questions about these ships, I call them ships. I never know whether they're calling a ship or a boat, but they say Viking Longship, so I'm assuming they're a ship. If you have any questions or comments, please put it in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next Cruise Report. If you want to know more about the stateroom and the accommodations on Viking Eistla, that's in my next video.